Let's find Jolotabiya. Yeah, there is plenty of space. I don't know why. Wherever I go, people are scared to get near the Maulana, you know. Maulanas don't bite. They are people friendly. No, seriously though. What we have found is that we have moved from a submission to God to a history of the Muslim people. And many a time, we use the word Islamic. We all do. I do. Islamic dress. Islamic history. But you know, until the last century, the word Islamic did not exist. In Arabic, it's called Al-Islamiyya or Islami with a nisbah, the adjective. In other words, when we use the word Islamic today, many a time what is cultural becomes part of that also. Islamic dress. What is an Islamic dress? Tell me. People say, burqa is an Islamic dress. Excuse me, burqa is not an Islamic dress. It's an Afghani dress, which is okay. But it's an Afghani dress. If it was Islamic, all Muslim women would have to wear a burqa. Or chador is an Iranian dress. You go to the Arab countries, they use the abaya. It's not an Islamic dress. It's an Arab dress. You come to my country, in Tanzania, we have a particular way of dress. It's called bui bui. Bui bui literally means a web. A woman is in a web, huh? It's the way that African women dress Islamically. But that's an African dress. The Islamic dress is that which is modest. That which is proper, which covers the essential part that Islam requires us. Now it may take different forms. What I'm trying to say is the word Islamic has been misused. So much so what is culture becomes part of the Islamic world. What is different also becomes part of the word Islam. When we use the word Islamic, it's as if we own Islam. And we determine what is Islamic and what is not. The term Islamic is a new phenomenon. What happens is everything which is sometimes cultural or outside Islam, because we use the word Islamic, becomes religious. And this is how, by the way, the fundamentalists, the terrorists also operate. Because they are the ones who are defining what is Islamic. So what they define Islamic, and if it doesn't fall into their definition of Islam, or what is Islamic, then they go around killing people and says, because you're not doing this, therefore you are not a proper Muslim, you're not Islamic. Sallu ala Muhammad.
Keep it quiet, sister. We need to keep it quiet, please. Watch it, please. No problem.
5 دقيقة فقط, huh? 5 دقيقة مدة. Before we go to the Masai. My sisters and brothers, ما باید فرق بکنیم بین Islamic حقيقي و Islamic Sunnati. The true Islam and our traditional Islam. We have to draw a distinction between what I call the Quranic Islam and the historical Islam. The Islam of the Quran is very different from the Islam of history. The Quran emphasizes reasoning. It tells us that women have the same rights as men. Women have to be respected. The historical Islam tells us you should imitate blindly. The historic Islam puts down women. Look at what the Taliban have done, what ISIS have done to women. This is what we call the historical Islam. It's not the Quranic Islam at all. The Quranic Islam is a freedom of expression, freedom of religion, that a human being has a right to choose what and how he or she should worship. The Quranic Islam is one which challenges us to be dynamic, God-conscious, upright Muslims. The historical Islam tells us, as long as you believe in God, then you are okay. Huh? We can't accept that kind of Islam. If we want to see the true Islam, we look at Karbala. Because Karbala shows us what it means to be a dynamic person. A person who will give up everything for the sake of the truth. Remember what I said the other day. If you have nothing to die for, you have nothing to live for. You must have certain principles that you're willing to give your life for, in order to make your life worthwhile. My sisters and brothers, we all know how to die after we live. Imam Hussein taught us how to live after we die. He showed us life after death. We should not resign ourselves to martyrdom. Rather, we should rejoice in martyrdom. The right kind of martyrdom, of course. I'm always inspired, as I'm sure that you are, in the words of Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi, of how to face death. Tonight is the night of Qasim, the young nephew of Imam Hussein. So young that our sources say jihad was not wajib on him. He was not even baligh, maybe 13 years old. But look at how he faced death. I'm inspired by Rumi. This is what Rumi says regarding death. He says, do not cry at my burial. Do not cry at my burial, because this is the time of my joyful meeting. Do not say farewell when I'm put in the grave. Don't say farewell when I'm put in the grave, because it is a curtain for eternal bliss. You saw the deed descending, but look at the rising. You saw the descending, but look at the rising. The sun sets in the west, but when the sun sets in the west, it rises in the east. It doesn't always set. When you put something in the ground, it grows. When you put a seed in the ground, it grows. Then why do you doubt the fate of the human seed? It may not grow in this world, but it grows in the other world. And therefore he says, to you, the coffin may seem like a jail. To you, the coffin may seem like a jail, but it's actual freedom. And this is the punchline. The heart cries for what it has lost. When somebody dies, we cry. The heart cries for what it has lost, but the soul rejoices for what it has found. The heart cries for what it has lost, but the soul rejoices for what it has found. This is the night of Qasim. On the eve of Ashur, Imam Hussein gathers all his companions, as we shall recite on Saturday night. He explains to them what is going to happen. He frees them from the bay'ah and tells them, you may leave me. As all the companions pledge their allegiance, young Qasim comes up to him and says, oh my uncle, will I die tomorrow? Will I be dead also tomorrow? Imam Hussein wants to test Qasim. What does he think of death? When I've said that the Ahlul Bayt taught us how to drink death, to embrace it, this is what we mean. Qasim says, Ahlan min al-asal. It is sweeter than honey. How sweet honey is? And young Qasim had been brought up with those virtues, that when it comes to death, as long as you are dying on the right path, it's very sweet. It's an honor to die for the sake of Allah. Can you imagine on the day of Ashur, Qasim is looking, and the enemies were so many that even if 100 of them died, nobody would notice the difference. But Imam Hussein's army is so few that even if one person died, immediately that gap was felt. Qasim could see that one by one, the companions were giving their lives. He comes to Imam Hussein. Can you imagine a young nephew of Hussein? Qasim was a symbol of Hassan, a very, very dear nephew of Hussein. Oh my uncle, let me go. Let me go. I want to go and give my life. Qasim, the Imam replies, jihad is not wajib on you. You may not go. You don't have to go. How can you part from your mother? Qasim comes again and again. The Imam says no. Finally Qasim comes to his mother, Farwa. Oh my mother, my uncle doesn't want let me to go. He doesn't allow me to go. What can I do? At that time, Farwa remembers that her husband Imam al-Hassan had given her a ta'weez, an amulet. And he had told her that whenever you have problems, when you are in difficulties, open this ta'weez. Farwa opens the ta'weez, and the ta'weez is actually a letter from Imam al-Hassan to his brother. And the letter says, oh my brother, when Qasim comes and brings this letter to you, allow him to go and fight for you. That will be my sacrifice on the day of Ashur in Karbala. When Qasim comes and brings that letter to Hussein, Hussein reads that letter and cries a lot. He remembers his brother and he says, Qasim, I cannot stop you anymore. I cannot stop you because this is the wish of my brother. Hussein embraces Qasim. Qasim is so young that he cannot even get up on the horse. He has to be carried and put on the horse. Hussein puts the Abba and the Amama on little Qasim. Khuda hafidh ya Qasim. Farwa is watching Qasim go. Qasim comes in front of the enemy and he says, I may be young, but I know that I will defend my uncle. I am the son of Hassan. I am the son of Ali. I am the grandson of the Prophet. As Qasim, the young boy, he fights nobly, he fights courageously. As he falls on the ground, somebody comes and hits Qasim so hard on the head that his head is cut into two. Qasim, as he falls on the ground, he cries out to his father. For the first time on the day of Ashur, Hussein gets so angry, he comes and attacks the enemy. You dare go and kill my nephew? Don't you know this is the son of my brother? Don't you know this is the son of Ali? As the enemy see Hussein is coming in that mood, Imam Hussein gets very angry at this point. He attacks the enemy. The enemy scatters. As they scatter, they go and trample over the body of little Qasim. Hussein finally reaches the body of Qasim and he says, Oh Qasim, I am so ashamed that you called out to me. I was not able to help you, oh Qasim. Qasim passes away in front of his uncle, Azadar Hussein. When he went to the battlefield, when he sat on the horse, his feet could not even touch the saddle. He was so short. But now his body has become so elongated because they trample over it. When Hussein is carrying the body of Qasim, now his feet are touching the ground. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي مكان مات حسين.
يا حسين 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 يا حسين